Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, formerly Los Angeles, California, no longer. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Thursday, January 16, 2025, and this is the Agree to Disagree show. On today's show, we're going to discuss if President Trump will make Hollywood great again. Is RFK Jr. going to make America healthy again? Pam Bondi will make a great attorney general. Joe Biden ranks amongst the best presidents in U.S. history. Doug Burgum will make a great Secretary of the Interior. And many more topics. Essentially, in the morning, we started doing a TNAM morning show, the TNAM AM Show, using the AM double time, the TNAM AM Show. And essentially, we're going through our Instagram feed. So I would say, kindly, if you're not over there yet, kindly, would you? Would you? Follow us on Instagram, the New American Media, please. Because we share different content on different platforms throughout the day. So you might want to check it out. Also, this is our X feed at American_media_. Please follow us there, because different stories are disseminated on that site. So there's our Patreon link if you guys wanted to click that and sign up to be a monthly contributor to the New American Media. We can't do this without you. We appreciate all of that. But let's kind of take a look. We are wrapping up. By the way, I'm going to try to keep today's show 55 minutes. Got a new game plan. I'm going to try to make this quick, make it focused, bang through as much as I can. The morning show was 2 hours. I remember at about an hour, I was like, I feel like we've done a lot. I feel like we could stop now, but there's still more to go. And before I knew it, I blinked and it was 2 hours, 5 minutes. So I'm going to do what I can to try to keep this an hour-long show. Of course, at 5 o'clock, we'll be doing Strictly Football, talking about football in the NFL playoffs. Let's talk about Joe Biden. He's done just a couple of days. Let's face it, he was done 4 years ago when he was running as the Democratic nominee. Remember when Harris and Biden were the two least popular people on their ticket? And so they rigged their primary to make sure it was Joe Biden, when everybody dropped out on the same day and everybody got in line and followed this regime. Yeah, you remember that. Well, do you remember the 4 years of ramifications, the monstrous disaster that we've had to suffer under because of this third Barack Hussein Obama term? So many of the same puppet masters that were pulling Obama's strings, and Obama himself, have been involved in this catastrophe. So, yeah, I mean, look, Mischief says, who are the 38% who think Biden did a good job? Steve Ferguson saying Biden has a favorability rating of 33%. Who exactly are the 33? That number seems kind of high, doesn't it? Well, yeah. That is true. If you listen to Scott Adams, he will say that 25% of people will get every question wrong, no matter what the poll. So 33% is very close to your 25% of people that will get every story wrong every chance they get to comment on it. Eric Matheny saying Joe Biden will leave office as a failed president. History will remember him as the ineffective buffoon who served between the two History will remember Joe Biden as the ineffective buffoon who served between two Trump terms. That's actually kind of tricky to say. Between two Trump terms. Between two Trump terms. Yeah, the tongue wants to get tangled on that one. Would you have had Reagan if you didn't have Jimmy Carter? That's a good question. What's this one? This guy, Navy veteran, convicted in a first Oath Keepers trial, has been sentenced to time served Thomas Caldwell said for years he was wrongly swept up by an overzealous Department of Justice into the Oath Keepers January 6 case. In 2022, jurors appeared to agree, acquitting him on all conspiracy counts. And today, another nod as Judge Mehta sentenced him to time served. How about that? Benny Johnson saying, no, this is not AI. Maisie Hirono. This is how she's choosing to use her time at the confirmation hearing today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome.
This is for Doug Burgum. Do you agree or disagree that he'll make a great Department of the Interior Secretary? Secretary of the Interior? Am I saying that right? And by the way, the Secretary of the Interior, the Secretary and the Department of the Interior are responsible for the management and conservation of most federal land, along with natural resources, leading such agencies as the Bureau of Land Management, the U.S. Geological Survey, Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the National Parks Service. So that's going to be Doug Burgum, 33rd governor of North Dakota. If you're talking wildlife in North Dakota, I mean, that's a fairly remote area of the universe. Does that mean he's going to be fantastic? I don't know if it means he's going to be fantastic. It does mean that this is the person that Trump selected to head that position. In Congress, they have an advisory role, so they want to talk to these people and make their recommendations. I believe they're just recommendations. They don't really get to veto or trump any of these appointees. Because the Democrats, if you know anything about them, all that they would try to do is ruin every one of these people, block every one of these people, and run obstruction. As Trump, trying to make America greater than it's been, is going to come in and start fixing the mess that Joe Biden and the Democrat Party has left him. It's also a mess that the Republicans have left him. The MAGA Party has taken over the Republican Party, thankfully, because they used to be, unfortunately, two wings of the same dirty bird. So here's Doug Burgum. Here's all the important questions. Here we go.
As part of my responsibilities to ensure the fitness of nominees before any of the committees on which I asked the following two initial questions. First is, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator, I have not.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
I have not.
So it sure sounds like they're going to accuse him of something. Maybe give him the Justice Kavanaugh treatment, the Clarence Thomas treatment. Let's see how that plays out. No, this is not AI. By the way, what's an unwanted request for sexual favors? Do you mean flirting with somebody? Engaging whether or not that they have an interest in spending time with you romantically? You've seen the memes, the difference between flirting and unwanted sexual requests is how attractive you are, how tall you are, how much money you make. That's the difference. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what they're going to accuse him of. And I'm very curious if we could get the entire list of all of the people in Congress, what they've been accused of. Are we going to get the whole list? So we'll just keep our eyes peeled on that one. I mean, seriously, how many people actually knew what the Department of the Interior was there for? Except that today, after yesterday, Pam Bondi, and the day before that, Pete Hesketh, they're getting everybody in. They're getting all their questions in. Let me resize this screen here. Frankie Brown. What's up, Frankie Brown? Thanks for following us, Frankie. By the way, hit like, subscribe, any way you are watching us out there. Frankie says, hopefully Burgum will release the disclosure of Sasquatch. No, not kidding. Look, I've been a long-time viewer, listener of Coast to Coast AM. I love all things paranormal. I love all things that are how do you even say that? Paranormal? Is it possible that there could be something to the Yeti, the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch? I mean, What does Adam Sandler sing in the Turkey song? 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Why are these stories all over the place on all the continents? You know, Mount Shasta and other places, of course. Missing hikers, you've seen these stories, and it could be any number of things, really. But to think that we're alone on this planet and in this universe, I just don't quite see it. Yeah, I'd love to get disclosure on all that stuff, Frankie. I really would. I think there's a lot of things that are being kept from us, like we're children, and I'm tired of being treated like a child. Oh, did we see the Nancy Mace thing? Let me see if I can pull up the Nancy Mace. Talking about being treated like a child. Miss Jasmine Crockett is really over her skis. Let me play this.
Somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans, so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to tell me whether or not.
Child, listen. I mean, listen to this presentation from this Jasmine Crockett.
Somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans.
She gonna keep saying trans. Watch the hair flip.
So that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to tell me whether or not.
She goes, child, listen. You're gonna call someone child, C-H-I-L-E, child, listen. You're calling Nancy Mace a child.
Child, listen. I want y'all to will feel threatened. And child, listen. I want y'all to tell me whether or
Do
not.
not call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I'm 47 years
emails
old. I have broken
actually
more
have.
glass ceilings than you
Chairman,
ever
I
will.
am reclaiming my
Let's go.
time.
You will not do that. I
Order.
am not a child.
Chairman,
I
I am
not a
reclaiming
child.
my time.
If you want to take it outside,
Mr.
we can
Chairman,
do
the
that.
committee is not
Okay.
in order.
Order.
Nancy Mace says, if you want to take it outside, I am not a child. I'm a 47-year-old woman. If you want to take this outside.
I am reclaiming my time.
If you want to take it outside,
Mr.
we
Chairman,
can
the
do that.
committee is not
Okay.
in order.
Order.
Point of order.
Order.
Somebody.
This Jasmine Crockett is a real piece of work. Real piece of work. Anyway, I was saying that I can't stand being treated like a child. And that's exactly what that was. I didn't know that was going to make the stack today. Because like I said, the TNAM morning show, we're going to go through our The New American Media Instagram feed. And on Agree to Disagree, we're going to go through our X feed. Different content. There's a little overlapping. You know, we'll talk about the things that are happening. But yeah, don't treat us like children. Like, tell us what's going on. This was shared. This is interesting. The stages of Trump derangement syndrome. Number 1, fairly normal with the occasional dumb rant. 2, more frequent deranged outbursts and cackling. 3, humor is lost, unable to make or understand memes. 4, all reasoning of facts and logic have been lost. And 5, this is end stage TDS. There is no cure at this point. If you are someone you know are suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, please take the New American Media and call me in the morning. Right here on the New American Media on YouTube, or I'm sorry, on X, it says, red dye removed, Trump Attorney General Pam Bondi begins the TNAM AM Show. So check out that show. That was a lot of content, some different stuff than we're going to discuss today. But let's ask this question. Do you agree or disagree? Maybe the number 1 topic of the day. The President Trump will make Hollywood great again. Remember, President Trump is a television star. He ran the most popular television show for 10 years, 11 years, 13 years, 8 years, something like that. Roughly a decade. And what has happened to Americans from the brainwashing of the lying legacy media, from academia, and from Hollywood, social media, it's all been perverted. It's all been twisted. It's all been warped. Donald Trump here at Real Donald Trump says, it is my honor to announce Jon Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone to be special ambassadors to a great but very troubled place, Hollywood, California. They will serve as special envoys to me for the purpose of bringing Hollywood, which has lost much business over the last 4 years to foreign countries, back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Wow. Look at this. Trump trying to rebuild Hollywood. Does he owe Hollywood anything after the way that they've treated him? But it is a big industry, and because of the ridiculous regulations and the punitive measures that California has taken to try to bleed these people dry, they fled. They go to Vancouver, they go to Atlanta, they go and film in all sorts of different places. Maybe that wouldn't be quite the case if you weren't so punitive on them. Maybe California wouldn't have lost so many people in their population, in their demographics, if you weren't so punitive toward them. So this is interesting. President Trump continues, these three very talented people will be my eyes and ears, and I will get done what they suggest. It will again be, like the United States of America itself, the golden age of Hollywood. We replied there and said, President Trump trying to make Hollywood great again. The nonstop barrage of Marxist, ABC, ESPN, Disney-style brainwashing and vitriol has divided America long enough. Who didn't make this special ambassador list that should have? Real James Woods? The real Roseanne? So that would be a question of the day. Who do you think should be on this envoy that is not? Look, having an ambassador trying to pump up Los Angeles and California at this time of just absolute hellish chaos. That's incredible. I don't know that I would have prioritized that enough to make that happen today. I mean, just a couple of days away from the inauguration of the 47th president of the United States, Donald John Trump. But there he is, putting it out there. And yeah, these companies that just push these ridiculous, divisive agendas on behalf of the deep state Democrat apparatus. It's very unwatchable. Have you tried to watch Jimmy Kimmel or half the stuff on Disney or ESPN or ABC? They just pump you full of propaganda, brainwashing, and lies. We need to fix our schools. We need to fix the media. So look, there's an olive branch. I like that. It can't hurt. Will it help? I don't know, but it can't hurt. Here's one. Unfortunately, this is out of Daily Mail. A Chicago woman, 61, is now brain dead after being punched and stomped on the head on a train by an 8-time felon who wanted to steal her purse. Can we make America safe again? The New American Media account replied, who let an 8-time felon out of its cage? And that's the word its, not his. Pronouns matter. And when you're a monster, you don't get pronouns. You're an it. You're a demon. This is where you just start asking the question. I know there are smart people out there that are against the death penalty, but what societal value does an 8-time felon that stomps a 61-year-old elderly woman to brain death, what value does this monster contribute to society? Why can't we just convict them of the crime that they did, provided they actually did the crime in every case, of course? Where's the capital punishment? Just erase them. Firing squad, hanging, leave them in the public square. Leave them at the subway station as a reminder to others to not mess around. Where is the protection for the people? I would love to see it. Instead, you got a blue city there. 8-time felon. Was he, were all 8 felonies in Chicago? I don't know. There's a lot of questions here. But any blue city that's put a George Soros appointed, backed, financed district attorney in with their soft on crime policies to terrorize the residents of those communities, reverse course right now. Recall people, primary them, indict them. If they are going to put an 8-time felon, now, was this 8 felonies for writing bad checks or something? Were these all violent felonies? I have questions. If these were 8 violent felonies, oh yeah. Yeah, I mean everything I said about escalating the consequences for these monsters that prey on good people. A 61-year-old woman. How dare they? Moving on here, just keeping it. I'm trying a brand new method of doing the show. I don't know if you like it, so I need to get some feedback from you out there. Yeah, let me go throw the comments on the screen. I guess I could go top and bottom on that. As I go through all of these stories and I try to go fast, and I'm going to try to keep it to a 55-minute show, do you like this show preferred over a more in-depth type of show? The TNAM Morning Show was kind of a little bit more in-depth. This one is kind of turning and burning, tearing through the stories. Kenneth, Hollywood if he could. Yeah, these blue cities, they coddle monsters. I don't get it for the life of me, Kenneth. Red dye at night. Yeah, we'll get to the red dye. It's so interesting they're changing the red dye thing right now. It's like they don't want to give credit to RFK Jr. How awesome is that? I'm giving credit to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Good for him. All right, so here's something that is being reported. The artist who made these cartoons obsessing over Trump, calling Trump and Republican rapists, groomers, and Nazis, was just arrested for child porn. Huh. What do you think of that? Well, I think the same thing that I think for any accusation. I really do firmly believe you're innocent unless proven guilty. Unfortunately, I think planting something on somebody's computer is one of the easiest things you can do to frame somebody or set them up. That's been talked about for a very long time. Kind of like the Kavanaugh accusation or the E. Jean Carroll accusation. Trump was really never allowed to mount a proper defense in that case. That was a civil case, not a criminal case, by the way, which is why Stephanopoulos had to lose that lawsuit for defaming Trump, calling him a rapist. He wasn't. He wasn't found guilty of that. It was like a sexual misconduct, something or other, in a civil case that kangaroo court rammed through. Should be overturned on appeal. We'll see. I didn't really see compelling evidence that would have led me to vote guilty had I served on that case. But, you know, I didn't have access or to all of that information. But while it is true that everybody is innocent unless proven guilty, this is just yet another person, Miss Darren Bell, calling him a groomer. And there's all these little kids in a little stuffed animal exposing himself to them. They keep using the word groomer, but that's maybe exactly what he is. Yeah, facing felony counts. Huh. It'll be interesting to follow. We said, here's another one. It sure seems like a lot of the anti-Trumpers potentially have some really dark skeletons in their closet. Does the deep state groom and choose their foot soldiers based on how blackmailable and controllable they are? Question mark. Is that the case? Keep our eyes peeled there. Moving on. And by the way, I might bounce it back and forth between a couple of different topics because this is the chronological order of our X feed at American_media_. Please follow us there. Okay, Kenneth likes the in-depth stuff. He likes the talk. Well, so do I. So do I. Not every co-host contributor does. And that's fair. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinions. All right, Eric Daughtry saying, breaking, House Freedom Caucus reconciliation proposal, that's a lot of words, is out. Here is some of this, the reconciliation proposal. Some of the highlights include 4 years of funding for the border wall and patrol and ICE. I believe that's at $100 billion. This is the repeal of the electronic vehicle mandate, the IRS funding, and the student loan bailout. This is work requirements necessary for welfare. This is unleashing oil, gas, and mining on federal lands. This is $4 trillion debt limit increase over 2 years with commitment on dollar-for-dollar savings over 10 years. So that's going to be the crux of the problem, raising this debt limit. But there's some things there that are a good start. This person saying, I particularly like make illegals and other aliens ineligible for welfare. No non-citizen in this country should ever be eligible for welfare, whether here legally on a visa or not. If you can't support yourself, you need to go back to where you came from. Now, I don't know if that's exactly what is included in here, but that was one of the comments that stood out. Yeah, you need the best and the brightest, and you need to have, you don't just get to go to college, you kind of have to have minimum requirements. And if the United States is trying to level up, we need really talented, qualified people that are going to add to the situation, not take away from the situation. So I'd be in favor of that as well. All right, the New American Media. There we are. Rest in peace, Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker, famous. I mean, you know him as the Milwaukee Brewers baseball announcer, also the announcer for the Cleveland Indians in the 1989 movie classic Major League. Just a bit outside. Went for the corner and missed. Bob Uecker has passed away at 90 years old. What a great life lived. This is an interesting this is an interesting, risque piece. This is Norm Macdonald, Artie Lang on the Howard Stern Show. I'm actually not going to play it. It gets a little vulgar, but it's funny. And Norm Macdonald does a pretty good Bob Uecker impersonation. Please watch it. Go on the TNAM X.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed. Bob Uecker, rest in peace. 1934 to 2025. What a life lived. Rest in peace. Appreciate all that you've brought to the table. There we are. There is the TNAM AM Show. Different content. We talked about Pam Bondi. We talked about red dye number. It doesn't care what number. If it's anything that's causing cancer, get it out of our damn food supply. Thank you, Bobby Kennedy Jr. How about this picture? We've seen some of these official photos of President Trump released. What is the SAS? The SAS? Does SAS mean something? No. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but clarify what that means, and I will answer. Pam Bondi, Pam's body. You know what? That is interesting, Kenneth, saying the Mandela effect. I thought Bob Uecker passed years ago. I had the exact same thought. It was shared to me in a personal message, and I went, what? I go, oh, that's so sad. Like, Bob Uecker was great. And I go, wait a minute. I thought he died a couple years ago. And I did the search. I'm like, huh. Okay. No, I had that same thought, Kenneth, about the Mandela effect. Short attention span. I will let Blake speak for Blake. And I am broadcasting with all appreciation due to his courtesy. We share the studio here on the Restream, and I've enjoyed doing shows with him. You know what? I really can't speak for him because I'm actually a little confused. I thought we had sort of. Let's just say sort of. I don't know. With much appreciation, we broadcast to you through the Restream studio, through the courtesy of Blake, and we appreciate that. Should we ever get on the same page again, we'll create more content together. Just leave it there. But yeah, President Trump, more photos are being released. That's a pretty good one. Is that the official photo? But yeah, happy Thursday. 4 more days. Just 4 more days. Bongino, today's January 16, and Donald J. Trump is the certified president-elect of the United States. Man, so excited for this second MAGA term. This is going on. The reform plan to save London streets would recruit close to 1,000 new police officers for a specialist knife crime task force. Ms. Alex Wilson asked Sadiq Khan's support on this matter, and his reply was staggering. I never encourage anyone to work with reform. Shame on him. Come on, England. Make England great again. What are you doing disarming your people? Arm your people. Don't let anyone violate your people. Push back. Come on. These stories each and every day of the abuses happening in Great Britain makes the stomach churn, makes the skin crawl. So yeah, this was from Disclosed TV. It was Washington Post cartoonist Darren Bell arrested for possession of child pornography. Residential search warrant. Evidence related to the case and a computer. Subsequently arrested and booked into Sacramento County Jail on possession of CSAM. It's the first arrest by Sacramento Valley ICAC. Possession of computer-generated AI CSAM was charged against a suspect. So they're saying that he was running AI searches to create AI images of gross stuff. Now, that's actually an interesting legal question that I don't even want to think about. This is the type of thing where it's like, oh, the ACLU used to just kind of like, well, you know, let the Christ haters, let the atheists, let them talk. Let's hear what they have. Let's hear them out. You don't have to agree with them, but free speech is free speech. Is anybody harmed in an AI image that depicts illegal acts? That's a question of the day. If I'm reading that right. Okay, no, let me go back to this kind of thing. No, I'm not saying that Blake has a short attention span. Trying to gauge my words carefully because, like I said, nothing but appreciation and respect, all the stuff I've worked on with Blake. Let me preface it there. Today, I thought we were on the same page and we were going to do a 55-minute show. Maybe I misunderstood what we had just talked about 12 hours ago. Put it all on me. If the goal is to bang out a quick show and keep it as focused as possible, 60 minutes, you turn into a pumpkin and we're done. I get the value in that. There's a lot of stuff we all have to do in our lives. Return on investment. Okay. That's what I was trying to do, and today was not the day. So there you go. Blake's still great. Yeah, in England. Stop or I'll toot. It's not even a shorter time span. It's just, well, yeah, it is. Just get in, get out, get it done. And there's also conversation about how, there's a producer role, there's the engineer role, there's the graphic design role, making thumbnails, there's picking the subjects that are going to be a part of the show. And so I won't rule anything out in the future. But today was just not that day. All appreciation and respect. Thanks a lot for all the things. I was ready to go today, and it just didn't turn into a thing that happened. So there we are. But yeah, this Washington Post cartoonist, how many of these Trump haters are like this person? But yeah, question of the day. What if you use AI to create images and content that are illegal? But are they illegal if it's not involving a person? I'd be very curious to see some of the stuff that he's sketched. What's in that twisted brain of his, if he is actually guilty of this. Look, here's a good reminder. Daniel Penny riding the subway. We heard that horrible story, the Chicago the 8-time felon that killed a lady, made her brain dead on the Chicago, I think that was a subway I was reading. And look, just a mere accusation doesn't make you guilty of anything. They charged this Daniel Penny guy with some bullshit. He was on a train and the psychopath was threatening everybody on there. He subdued him as soon as law enforcement was able to take over. Law enforcement took over. This guy was threatening to harm a lot of people on that train. And Daniel Penny stood up. He said, "Nope, we're not having that." And he was charged for that. He was not guilty of that. That's what they tried to do. So take any accusation with a grain of salt. But look, Jack Poso says he's back. Trump Jr. says the subway just got a lot safer. There he is, Daniel Penny, allegedly. I think it is. Bravo to you, young man. I'm sorry you got charged with what you got charged with. Let's hear. But thankfully you were acquitted, as you should have been. But he should. There should be a settlement. There should be a payout for having to undergo that type of attack, having your name absolutely dragged through the mud and ruined for doing what any good Samaritan should have done to stop a clear and present threat. All right, so here's Tucker Carlson. Let's hear what he has to say here.
Thank you very much for joining us. So,
my son, I owe this to him.
Well, this is a remarkable story. So we were connected by someone we both know. I had followed this casually in the media. I didn't know what to make of it. Your son died in November. You commissioned an examination by a forensic pathologist, independent forensic pathologist called Dr. Dinesh Rao. I have it right here, accompanied by photographs that you took. And I don't think any honest person looking at this would conclude this was a suicide. There's an awful lot of evidence that it wasn't. I was actually shocked by it. So I want to get into the details of what may have happened, but I'd like to start, if you don't mind, by hearing about your son. Who was he? How old was he? What did he do? What was he like?
So this is the mother. Remember that AI person, whistleblower, was found dead, and they were really connected with I think it was OpenAI was the case. And looking at what happened, people are saying, was he murdered? Just like Isaac Cappy, just like Epstein, just like John McAfee. Was it an organized hit on this AI whistleblower? Maybe. Did California cover it up? The reporter who broke the story on the Clinton Lynch tarmac meeting was found dead. Well, there's that too. Oh, that's a weird one. This is a DC Commander Glover ordering his officers allegedly to begin throwing grenades deep into the J6 crowd with no warnings given. Wow, that seems strategic. So, Sam Altman, did he have a role in this? Was this actually a murder instead of a suicide? Would the testimony have ended OpenAI? A bloody wig found? Bag with blood and saliva found? What? my son had documents against OpenAI. They attacked him and killed him. Well, look, I encourage everybody to watch this interview with Tucker. But what were the documents? What was damning? They were, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this supposed to be, the accusation was that OpenAI was using and benefiting from content, copywritten content from magazines, websites, news sites, and that was going to end OpenAI, so they had to kill this guy. Killing this guy doesn't change the fact that we just have a fundamental question that we have to answer legally. That cartoonist, once again, if I read that article correctly about that cartoonist with the alleged crimes, the criminal activity with children, I think it said AI generated content that would depict a crime in a child. Can you have a crime without a victim? And I guess some would say anybody that's that warped to have some sort of penchant or fascination with children, you know, that's just the brain damage involved to get someone to that point where their brain is that cracked. You know, do you have empathy there? I mean, I don't suffer from that affliction. But if there's no victim, is there a crime? And just my preliminary thought on this, and please question the day, any context you could provide. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching us today. We are streaming on the Agree to Disagree show. The New American Media on Facebook. That's a new one, which is pretty cool. By the way, we'll be live at 5 o'clock today for Strictly Football with Mike Barra going over the NFL and the college football playoffs, perhaps. But stopping this one guy isn't going to change the fact that we have to determine what is OpenAI allowed to do with copywritten material. Who says you can't read through a book and then answer questions based on the stuff that you've read? Remember that scene, How You Like Them Apples, in Good Will Hunting? Remember that? That's Matt Damon going on about that, you know, the guy that's trying to bust Ben Affleck's nuts. It's like, yeah, you're going to say this, you're going to regurgitate that until you read this book in your junior year. And then you're going to read that, and then you'll either go to this one or that one, and then you're going to regurgitate that shit. Do you have an original thought in your entire head? How you like them apples? I got the girl's number. That is an awful Boston accent. I hadn't thought of doing it. I started. I'm like, I don't know what that is. It ain't Boston. Forget about it. I got to work on that. By the way, do you see Bill Barr on with Jimmy Kimmel? Like I said, almost everything Kimmel touches is cringy, ABC, ESPN, Disney, woke Marxist propaganda. And he came out saying that there was no problem with the fires. Oh, they did a great job. What? Bill Burr. Now, Bill Burr was on some stuff with Disney, ABC, ESPN, Disney, The Mandalorian, I believe. So maybe he got a script in the mail and said, hey, go on, Kimmel, and read this stuff. It's a shame. But my preliminary understanding about this OpenAI case, it's just going to be a legal ruling. This guy had no data that was going to change the fact that we need to determine, can OpenAI scour the internet? And yes, of course, you're going to say this website, that website, that website, that website. Some people might say Breitbart, Real America's Voice, Fox News, OAN. Another one might be programmed to say, yeah, go to CNN and MSNBC and ABC. They'll give us the news. Go read those. And then when people ask the questions, answer with that as your knowledge base. The question that needs to be answered legally is, can you do that? Are they allowed to do that? Do they have to pay a licensing fee to do that? You can go to the library for free and read anything you want. Why can't AI? That's a valid question. I mean, do you agree or disagree with that? I'm not saying I agree or disagree with that. I'm just saying that is the question. The cartoonist that was arrested for CP. is there a crime if there's no victim? I was kind of doing the roundabout way of asking, is the person that has that warped mentality, is that person the victim of a short-circuited, defective brain, or victim of grooming themselves? You know, they usually say that people that engage in certain behaviors, they were exposed to that. They were trained to that. They were warped and damaged into that. They were groomed into that. OpenAI will spy on this guy. Bill Nye, the science spy. Anyway, it's just an interesting question, both if it's AI generated CP and regardless of this one person either killing himself or being killed, I don't see how that changes the case of whether or not AI can read through websites and then take that information and reply with answers. I can see some good points on both sides of the AI case. And I just don't see how ending this guy changes the underlying factors of that. So anyway, let's go out there and take a look at that. The story's not going anywhere. The story about, and look, Tucker adding more light to the situation is good. We need to talk about what happens. We've had enough of this wet work stuff. Bobby Kennedy went out of his way. He's trying to make America healthy again. They went after his dad. They went after his uncle, whoever they are. Just these monsters that are lurking in the shadows, messing things up for people. They need to be on the run. They need to be put on blast. They need to be fearful. The people of the United States, the people of this planet deserve better. There is a golden rule. You do unto others as they do to you. So, anyway, we talked about a lot of that on the morning show, the TNAM AM show. And then yesterday, here's a link to our show about Pete Hegseth. Agree or disagree that Hegseth crumbles under Democrat questions? Agree or disagree? And of course, the answer was disagree, because he did very well. Yeah, this is interesting. Speaker Mike Johnson removed Congressman Mike Turner, who voted against the resolution to censure Adam Schiff from the Senate Intelligence Committee. That's a good thing, right? Oh, that was spelled incorrectly. There's no way to edit that now, is there? Oh, I hate finding... You know what? There's no reason you shouldn't be able to go back and go, removed FEOM Congress. It should be from Congress. Why can't I go back and click that? Shouldn't be only 2 hours to edit. But if you're going to edit, it should leave a paper trail of what was edited behind it, so you can see the revisions. That shouldn't be a pay service. That shouldn't be limited to 2 hours. If you want to maintain the integrity of it and then the people that react to it. All right, Ida. Hello, Ida. What do you disagree about? I love getting comments, but I need a full sentence so I can understand what it is that you are disagreeing about. Do you disagree that Schiff needs to be removed from Congress? Do you disagree that Hegseth crumbled under Democrat questions? Do you agree or disagree that the AI whistleblower was murdered? Do you agree or disagree that Daniel Penny made the subway a lot safer? We've covered a lot of topics. So yes, if you can give me a full sentence about what you disagree with, it'll help me respond to it. Appreciate the feedback for sure. All right, continuing down here. So yeah, how do you vote against a resolution to censure Adam Schiff from the Intelligence Committee? Schiff has been guilty of so much criminality and treason. It's hard to even start making a top 10 list. So our response to this Benny Johnson report about Speaker Mike Johnson removing Congressman Turner, who voted against the resolution to censure Schiff. By the way, Mike also has been very outspoken on funding for Ukraine, or you could reread that. Mike has also been Mike Turner, I suppose. They're both named Mike. Benny, I don't know who you're talking about. I think you're talking about Mike Turner. Turner has also been very outspoken on money laundering from Americans to add to a $36 trillion debt while ignoring East Palestine, Ohio, Maui, Hawaii, North Carolina in the Hurricane Helene aftermath, and the rebuilding efforts in the Palisades in Los Angeles in favor of taking billions of dollars to money launder into Ukraine, a nation most people can't point to on a map. So yeah, our response on the New American Media, make sure you're following us on X at American_media_. It says Schiff needs to be removed from Congress. He needs to be indicted and investigated and removed. If you can't even support that, you have no business serving on the Intelligence Committee. There you go. Goodbye. You're off the Intelligence Committee because you're not willing to look at Schiff and make him accountable. Ida saying, I think Trump will, not MAGA. He's a piece of shifty shift. Okay, once again, I need the full sentence. I think Trump will what? Not MAGA what? I think Trump will what? And I don't think that MAGA will what? I'm turning and burning through the topic, so I'm trying to stay connected. Full sentences really help me, but I do appreciate the feedback, as always. Yeah, Nick Sortor was reporting that President Trump personally requested Mike Johnson remove the rhino Mike Turner from the powerful position of chair of the House Intelligence Committee, per Washington Post. We're weeding out those who will intentionally impede Trump's agenda. Good on you. Turner voted against the censure of Schiff, even though Turner knew Schiff repeatedly lied about Russian collusion, distracting Congress from taking care of the most urgent issues facing America and trying to destroy his political opponent, framing him committing treason in the process. That's me speaking those last parts. So if that's all accurate, good on him. Goodbye. Here's your sign. This is a massive sign reportedly spotted on the side of the road saying, F you, Gavin Newsom. Resign now. Resign now. See, look, I'm even adhering.
Nice.
Some of my New Year's agenda, trying to cuss a little bit less. I know I'm capable of it. I'm very used to the open, free-flowing format of podcasting. I know that if we want to get sponsors and we want to, like, obviously we do, and get all that stuff moving forward. I don't know. There's some circumstances where we're going to want to edit and self-censure. On the other hand, there's plenty of opportunities to succeed and get sponsors without doing that. Yeah, Gavin burdensome. Gavin burdensome. But yeah. Here's a little, God, am I going to be able to play this? It's a parody video. Let me just play you a moment of it. Hopefully it doesn't get flagged because it's definitely California dreaming in the background. But here's a piece of AI that you wish you could unsee. There's going to be a lot of AI you wish you could unsee, by the way.
All the homes are gone. Because of climate change. When the fires are out, I'll build a brand new LA.
I mean, this is hilarious. I can't really play more of it because I don't want to get California dreaming copyright hits, because somebody needs to take over, get Google out of YouTube and make YouTube great again. So many stupid copyright claims. We have every right to play snippets of things and provide original commentary on that. It's called fair use. And we just still battle these people over and over, taking content down because we play a couple of seconds of a clip. It's fair use. We're not redistributing a broadcast. We're not trying to play this song as a part of our network, and we're not paying into ASCAP or BMI. Get a grip, people. But yeah, this is kind of funny. That's Mayor Karen Bass and Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi and Gavin Newsom. It's kind of funny.
Here's 700 bucks.
$700.
Land grab is underway.
The land grab is underway. This is epic. All the homes are gone. So enjoy that one. That's on our X feed at American_media_. Here's Shifty Schiff at the Pam Bondi hearing.
I assume you agree with me that
He appears to be napping there. And this stuff is kind of boring, let's be honest, but not a good look to be napping at your meeting.
Nappy time.
Nappy
It is an
time.
existential threat, Senator, and also I have not seen it yet, but from what
I was
I've
resting
heard
my
about
eyelids, you might say.
former FBI Director Ray's
My heavy
comments on
eyelids.
60 Minutes regarding
Is he called a
China,
pumpkin head?
sleeper
What's he
cells
called?
within our own
sleeper
country,
cell right
infiltrating
there.
our
A
water
sleeper
systems,
cell.
our natural gas
Called him a
lines,
sleeper cell.
There's the sleeper cell.
and very, very
Okay, we had a little bit of sign of life there. But yeah, he's pulling a Joe Biden. Yeah, I remember 2 days ago, people were saying Pete Hegseth drinks too much. Also, Democrats. Democrats. Don't forget about Elizabeth Warren drinking. My understanding is that's a faked photo, by the way, of Buttigieg. But yeah, these commanders with dog faces and virtue signaling to try to start a race war, and yep. Okay, Democrats. All right, Democrats. This was an important one, James O'Keefe.
By Hunter than you.
We have no permission to use it.
Actually, we do. It's called the First Amendment. Why would you lie to me?
I'm not lying to you, and I'm not.
Do you lie every day at work?
No.
Pentagon
I'm not
official
lying.
Why did
exposing
you
this
say
person
that
who's
you
trying to
are
sabotage
working
Trump.
with retired
What
generals?
are you talking about?
You were a
Special
special
agent
agent with the
FBI working
FBI.
for
You worked
Hillary
for
Clinton.
Hillary Clinton. You work for the State Department. You talk about hunting spies. What if my undercover person was a Russian spy?
Go away, you liar.
And he's going to use some of the regular smears that he does. Kenneth saying F-bombs are like caps these days. I know, like all caps. Ida saying the first is that he is downright. Who is he? I'm legitimately trying to engage in a back and forth, but I need a coherent sentence that who is he? Are we talking about Elon Musk? Are we talking about James O'Keefe? Are we talking about Pete Hegseth? Are we talking about Doug Burgum? Are we talking about Adam Schiff? The comment, the first is that he is downright stupid, but this is only to make money. I think this could go very wrong for you. There's a lot of missing components to that statement. Bought by Elon, who doesn't want welfare policies, and you already have very poor welfare. What was bought by Elon? Whose rhetoric is dangerous? Who radicalizes people? Shifty Schiff? Yes, he does. He's been framing people for a long time. A human being here. Hello. Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, and others should be arrested for criminally negligent homicide. Hey, I'm all about it. I am all about it. They said they're funneling the money that's supposed to be used for servicing vehicles and hiring firefighters to go into climate change theft programs, money laundering, climate change, green scam, New Deal stuff. Going into DEI stuff that's racist, illegal, unconstitutional, civil liberty violating. And it detracts from the main mission, which is competency to keep the country from burning, to keep the county and the state of California from burning. So, yeah. But yeah, I would encourage you to check out this James O'Keefe article for sure. Also here, we're going to wrap up. Like I said, we're going to try to do a 55-minute show. I'm going to prove I can do it. Lindsey Graham saying he has a no vote on RFK Jr. So folks in South Carolina know what to do. Primary him. And we said it's time to replace Graham. Too many weird votes, too many weird traits. Maybe put Nancy Mace in that position. How do you vote no on RFK Jr.? God's trying to make America healthy again. Banning, I would argue that he is the reason why red dye number 3 has been banned. Bravo, bravo. Guess what? I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back in 1 hour at 5 o'clock with Mike Barra on Strictly Football, covering the football landscape. I knew I could do this in 55 minutes, meaning wrap up by 60.